long-term fix. He has a leading role in all of this. I'm talking about Congressman Mark Green, the Tennessee House Homeland Security Committee chair. Always good to have you, Congressman, and congratulations on your new
Thanks, Neil.
on your new role. I did want to explore that because, as far as I know, and I'm getting dribs and drabs of what the administration is planning to announce with Mexico, but key to that is Mexico's apparently agreed to accept a total of 30,000 deportees from these four countries: Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, I believe Venezuela, and López Obrador has said that Mexico could entertain accepting still more. Now, Mexico has made commitments, maybe not as grand as this, Congressman, in the past, and not honored them. Are you worried that it might not here as well?
Well, thanks for having me on, Neil. And I will tell you that 30,000 is just not enough when you've got 200,000 people hitting our southern border, 8 of the last 12 months. 30,000 is just not enough. And it's interesting because the UN, if you look at the refugee policies of the UN, it requires that the next contiguous country actually take care of those refugees.
Right.
They're passing them off to us. And yeah, so that's not enough. AMLO has to do more. Honestly, all of the countries of Central America have to do more, and we intend to ask them to do that.
You know, it is an important point the way I see it, Congressman, but you know far more that we are now, under the guise of asylum, accepting more from these countries where that issue comes up. Again, Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, Venezuela. But do you worry that asylum is used as a means of just allowing more in here, period, whether their cases are valid or not?
Absolutely, it's being abused. The whole catch and release program, and you can look at Biden's interim final rule, which he attempted to push down on Congress and on the operations of DHS and the DOJ. All it does is speed people into the country. Everything that he's doing, from his budget, which precludes ICE from deporting people, to increasing the processors at the border to get more people in faster. Everything they're doing. And this app, I can just see it right now, the Coyote advertisement that says, hey, we'll even fill out the app for you for an extra fee. I mean, everything Joe Biden's doing is getting people into the country. That's what they want, and it's wrong. It's hurting America.
You know, I'm also getting the impression, again, you're closer to this than I am, that not everyone's on board. Progressives are saying the administration is actually being too cruel here. They've denounced the plan on human rights violations and that it doesn't allow the fundamental right of people who want to seek refuge in the United States for fear of either their lives or their safety. That's a wide definition. Now, to be fair, the Biden administration has not applied that here, but they're under pressure to apply it, and Mexico is applying it. We're told Canada is applying it. Where do you think this is going?
Well, in violation of that, human rights section of the UN Charter, which I mentioned earlier,
right.
The progressives want a totally open border, and Joe Biden has actually given it to them. I mean, he's facilitating exactly what they want. Perhaps the dog and pony show of his trip is a great campaign ad for 2024, but it certainly is not doing anything to appease those of his moderates and the Republicans, the rest of America, who recognizes that, hey, 100,000 dead Americans and all the other negative impacts of this open southern border.
You know, the president has also made clear, didn't do so much when he was at the border on Sunday, Congressman, say that Republicans are the reason there's not enough help, financial help coming to the border, but that he was going to, quote, take care of that. We know he's going to be providing resources to border officials, but do you know anything more about that in terms of manpower, more money for maybe not a border fence or what have you, but just beefing up protections at the border? What does he mean by that?
My guess, and that's all I can do at this point because the department or the administration has not reached out to the House majority to talk about this, but my guess would be things like pay raises, extra border patrol people, and potentially some sensors at the crossing sites for narcotic sensing. Those things I hear Democrats talk about all the time. They are needed, and there's a potential for some bipartisan work to get that done. But no, the administration's not reached out to the new chairman of Homeland Security.
You have reached out in terms you want to see him. He has said that the border is not open. You disagree. You wanted to call him before your committee. Where does that stand?
So very clearly, the border is wide open, and he can say that it's secure. Mayorkas can say that it's secure, but 3.5 million people coming across, if you add the folks who are allowed in and then the gotaways, 3.5 million, 21 states in the nation have populations less than 3.3 million. So a moderate-sized state coming into the United States every year under this administration, it's a wide open border. So any assertions otherwise is crazy. And the cartels are the one controlling the border. They put mass waves of people at the human crossing sites, and CBP has to thin the line in the rural areas. That's where the fentanyl's pouring across. I've seen it. So any assertion by him, you know, and yes, we will get Mayorkas before the committee very soon.
Congressman, I'd be remiss if I didn't follow up a little bit on what the administration had run into when the president came to the border. Much was said how everything was cleaned up. They disavow any notion that they had anything to do with that. You know, El Paso officials say that didn't happen under them. Someone cleaned that area up for the president to the point he never saw migrants, and those on both sides of the aisle had said it probably would have been a good idea for him to see migrants. He never did. But have you gotten to the bottom of how things look so different and why he didn't see any migrants in an area that was flooded with them little more than 48 hours earlier?
Well, this is the whole reason why he hasn't gone to the border before, and it's because when the president and, of course, you know, Vice President Harris, why they won't go is because the cameras go when they go. So this trip, they had to sterilize that crossing site, as I understand it.
But who sterilized it? They say they didn't, sir, and that's why I'm trying to find out who did. Because you're right, someone changed something.
Yeah, it sounds like to us that the local law enforcement, and this is what I'm hearing, I don't have confirmation from that law enforcement agency, arrested the homeless, you know, migrants that were there and moved them out of the space where the president was coming. So that's what I've heard.
Mr. Chairman, congratulations again on your assignment. You have your work cut out for you. We look forward to chatting with you in the weeks and months ahead. Mark Green of Tennessee.